G'day guys, I'm Ragnar. Today we're going to talk about World of Warcraft. If you're new to this game, you've just downloaded and installed it, and opened it up for the first time, you'll come to this screen here. Here you'll create your new character and your class. So the first thing you'll be asked to pick is what race you want to play and what class you want to pick. But before we do that, I suggest you go and click back, and then click on Change Realm at the top right. And make sure you've selected a more suitable server for your needs. For example, if your friends play this game and you want to play with them, you've got to make sure you choose their server. For example, mine are on Frostmourne. Sometimes your server will be in a different region, like the US or Oceanic, for example. So click the regions to find the server, double click on it, and create your character in there. Once you're back at the character creation screen, you'll notice all the races are under a Alliance banner or Horde banner. You need to make sure that if you want to play with your friends, you're playing under the same faction. For example, if they're playing Alliance, which are any of these races here, you need to choose one of these races to play with them. And that's the same for the Horde. So once you've decided that, you then go ahead and pick which race you want to play on the faction your friends are on. For example, you might want to play a human, and you might want to be a female, and you might want to be an assassin rogue or something like that. Picking your different races are purely cosmetic, and they do have a few perks and benefits. If you click the more info tab down here, you can read what the race's strengths are. Sometimes they'll get bonuses to a profession or a stat increase, or they might get a special ability. And over on this side, you can read about the different classes and what they do. I recommend you read through these, but I will make another video that will give a brief description over each class and what that class does. Feel free to spend a bit of time customizing your character, and once it's created and named, you can then enter the world. After the cutscene, you'll come to a screen that looks something like this. You'll probably walk around and think, what do I do now? First thing you do is you click on people with that exclamation mark above their head. They have a quest. You simply right click on them and have a bit of a read what the quest is. It's all very story driven here, but if you just want to collect the quest and go and do the objectives and don't care about the story, that's fine as well. That's what most of us do anyway. But you'll probably get more enjoyment if you read the storyline. You simply hit accept on the quest.
Be careful.
And then your quest will display in the top right here. You then run in the direction, and you'll notice on your minimap there will be a blue area. That's the quest zone. If you're not sure where it is, you can press the M key to open up your map, and you can look around and see where the blue quest area is. Other quests will come up as different numbers, and you can click on them individually. You're probably wondering how the combat works. Well, with combat, you simply go up to an enemy and you can click on it. Once you have it clicked, that enemy is now targeted. You can use your number 1 ability. Clicking on it will activate the ability, but you can also press the hotkey for it, which is the 1 key in this case. You'll notice that I'm auto-attacking without pressing 1 as well. If you simply want to auto-attack and then use your abilities in between, you can auto-attack by right-clicking the target. The target will eventually die, even if you don't hit any abilities. Once you have killed the enemy, you can loot the enemy. Do that by walking up and right-clicking on its corpse. A box will open and it will display the loot, and it will tell you how much the loot is worth. Here it's worth 2 copper. Simply click on it and it puts it in your bags. To open your bags, you can either click the bag icon, or you can press the B key. It will open up a bag and you will see your looted items in here. As you progress through the game, you will unlock more bag slots. You'll have 4 additional bag slots that you can fill with different sized bags. So if you're running out of bag space a lot, maybe go to a vendor and see if you can buy any bags from them. To track your quest progress, just look at the top right here. For example, it says 2 out of 6 wargs slain. But if you hover over the wargs, you can also see down the bottom right here. Down here will also show you your party members. So if you're questing with a friend, you can see what their progress is as well. Once you've completed your quest, head back to the question mark, which is usually the quest giver. Here you can complete your quest and you'll get a reward. Here our reward is a belt, 680 XP and 35 copper. If you hand it in, you'll usually get another quest to follow it. Get used to this, as this is quite normal, as questing is the main source of leveling in the game. However, it is not the only way, so if it's not your thing, don't worry too much about it. Best rule of thumb is to accept all the quests you can see in the area and try and complete them all at the same time. Sometimes when you complete a quest, you'll get a piece of gear. They will end up in your bags. Open your bags by pressing the B key and have a look just by hovering over. If you're not sure if it's good or not, just hold shift over it and it will compare you to what it's wearing. If nothing appears when you hold shift, that means you're not wearing anything in that slot. So simply right click on it and that will equip a belt for that slot. I've also got a dagger here. Now if I hold shift over this, it actually does show me the dagger stats. Now if the stats are green, that usually means they're better and it's worth equipping. If the stats are red, then usually it's worse, in which case you're better off selling it to a vendor. Now as I said before, you can right click it to equip it, or you can simply drag and drop it to your character menu. To open your character menu, simply press this icon down here, or it's the C key by default. Eventually you'll notice your bags start to fill up a little bit. You'll eventually want to clear your bags up. You can either do this by deleting stuff in your bags by dragging and dropping and clicking yes to are you sure you want to destroy your item. However, I wouldn't recommend doing this, as 99% of the time you can simply go to the vendor and sell it. Now how do you find a vendor in the first place? Well, if you click the magnifying glass at the top right near your minimap, you can select townsfolk. All these people here are some sort of vendor. Now vendors that you can sell to are usually repair vendors and food and drink vendors. They will highlight in the world with green names above their head, and they'll also have little icons on your minimap, like this. You can turn these on and off by checking the checkboxes. You can also do this with mailboxes and inns, but I'll cover that a bit later. These vendors I've highlighted are ones that you can sell to. Doesn't really matter which ones you sell to, they'll all give you the same amount for your pieces of items you sell. Now you'll notice there'll be a yellow symbol on grey items. That means that you can sell those because grey items literally have no use for anything else in the game. They're literally just junk, but they're a great way to make you a bit of extra coin. However, if you need to delete something from your bag because there's no vendors nearby, usually get rid of the grey items that aren't worth much first. Items that aren't grey usually have a use for something. For example, this dagger's white, so dagger you can use as a weapon, right? That's why it's not a grey item. However, sometimes you do find grey weapons and gear, but they're usually really low quality. Just sell those as well if you know that you're not going to use it, or it's an old piece of gear that you've replaced with a better piece. As you level up, new skills will appear on your action bar, and eventually your action bar will fill right up. Now, by default, your hotkeys for this action bar are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it's like equals and minus and weird things like that. You can rebind these into other keys, because you don't really want to be pressing 8, 9 and 0 for abilities up here when you could put them on keys that are closer to your left hand, like the F key and the E key and the R key, for example. To do this, you simply open the menu by hitting escape, or you can click on the question mark down here. You then click on keybindings, and here you can rebind everything in the game. Movement keys, chat keys, action bar keys, targeting keys. Most things you can keybind to something. Here we're worried about action bar. So if you click on action bar here, you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And you can see I've changed a few of the keys after 6 to keys that are closer to my movement keys for my left hand. So I can keep my left hand on my movement keys and easily hit the nearby keys to keep using my abilities off cooldown. I recommend you do this as well. If you run out of keys to use, you can buy mice and other peripherals for your computer that allow you to use additional keybinds, like Naga mouses from Razer for example. If you click the multi-action bar, you can keybind even more spells. To turn on the multi-action bar, simply cancel out of that and click on interface. And then click on action bars and simply tick all these boxes at the top. this will turn on all these action bars. You can turn on always show action bars or turn this off. And as you can see, I've got a lot more places to put my spells now, which can be great. However, there is a little bit more clutter on your screen because of that. If you want to change your spell to another hotkey on your action bar, you simply hold Shift and then click and hold and drag. Now my Eviscerate spell is on my Z key. If you're having trouble working out how to use your spells, you can open up your Spellbook by pressing the P key or clicking this icon down the bottom right. The Spellbook is where all your spells are stored, so if they're missing from your action bar or you've accidentally deleted them, just open your Spellbook and you can drag and drop them straight back on there. It's worth reading what the spells do. If you hover over it, it'll tell you how much damage it does and any other strange things about it. For example, Sinister Strike is like the first ability you start with as a rogue, right? It consumes 45 energy, which is your resource pool up here in the yellow. It also awards 1 combo point. See these blank slots here? Each time we use that ability, it'll give us a red combo point. So we can have a maximum of 5 combo points. Now with our Eviscerate ability, this spends combo points, and as you can see, if we use 1 point, it'll only do 6 damage. But if we use it with 5 points, it'll do 30 damage, which is 5 times more damage. Now it uses 35 energy. So if you want to spend 35 energy, you want it to do 30 damage. You don't want to waste 35 energy on 6 or 12 damage. So this is why it's important to read the spell, so you know you're playing efficiently and not taking longer than you need to kill something. And sometimes it can mean the difference between living or dying in combat when things get a bit tough. There is one more interface, a couple more interface settings actually, I'd like to cover briefly. So in controls at the top, sometimes you might want to turn on auto loot. If you don't want to see every single thing you loot, this can save time. That way you just click the corpse once you kill it and it will automatically loot everything it has into your bag in one click. Another thing to check is names. Under names, you can turn on show personal resources on targets. So instead of your combat points appearing up here, you'll be able to see it when you click a target, which makes it a bit easier to keep an eye on things. You can also check always show nameplates. If you hover over things, it'll tell you exactly what to do. You've also got camera options, so if you want to change follow speed or never to adjust the camera, you can do that. I also recommend setting up your raid profiles. And check this box here, use raid style party frames. They'll make things a bit cleaner and tidier. And another thing I like to check is display the class colours. All classes have a colour. For example, rogues are yellow, hunters are green, warlocks are purple. You'll eventually learn these as you play the game more and more, but this just makes it a bit easier to distinguish classes without having to read exactly what they are. Sometimes you'll get an ability that's on its own action bars, like stealth and pet abilities. If you open your spellbook, you can also put these on your normal bars by dragging and dropping them down here, and you can keybind the pet abilities as well. Sometimes you'll have a quest where you'll have to put out fires or something, but you won't be very clear on how to do it. This is when you check next to your quest. Sometimes there is a little item icon next to it, and that's a quest item. Sometimes you've got to click that, and that will allow you to extinguish fires or whatever the quest objective may be. Sometimes you'll come across a green quest. Well, it's not really a quest, it's more like a flight path or a taxi service. Simply right click on them to unlock it, and then when you talk to them, it'll load up the world map and all the flight paths you've unlocked. At the moment I've only got 2, but as you explore the world and unlock more and more, you can use a taxi service to get to and from places a lot faster than going on foot. One last thing I'll show you in this video before we call it is how to talk to other players. Other players will have blue names above them like this, and they'll usually look quite unique in the world. Now in the chat you can see that people are talking. If you want to reply, you can just hit the enter key and start typing something. Now if you say hi all like I just did, you'll look like a noob, but that's okay, sometimes that's all it takes to make friends. If you want to talk in other chats like your guild chats and party chats, you can click the speech bubble icon down here and select whichever one you want, and eventually you can just type /p or /g once you learn what they all do. You can also do slash emotes like slash dance, and slash kiss, and slash kneel, and slash laugh. This is important to communicate to other players with, and it can make the game a lot more fun and enjoyable, especially if you're playing with friends and don't have a voice chat to talk in. One more thing I'll cover is abilities in stealth and different forms. For example, this ability here, Cheap Shot, says requires stealth, which means I'll need to be in stealth for me to use that ability. Notice my action bar here changes when I go from stealth to non-stealth. This is the same for shapeshifting as a druid as well. So pay attention to spells that you'll need to be in a certain phase for. So when you start combat as a rogue, you might want to start with Cheap Shot, which means you'll want to start in stealth. There are other abilities that will do bonus damage while in stealth. And just remember, as soon as you enter combat, stealth will break. But it's just something to think about for players that are going to play things like rogues or druids or warriors. The last thing I'll cover is the little stone that sits in your bag. This stone you can set somewhere as your home, and when you click this, it'll teleport you there, and it has a 30-minute cooldown. The cooldown can change if you join a guild to a shorter cooldown, 15 minutes. Now how do we do that? Well, first we need to find an inn. We can click our magnifying glass and highlight over townsfolk and click on innkeeper, and it'll highlight it on our minimap when we're near an inn. Now watch my level here. See, it says I'm level 8, and now when I enter this inn, it'll change to a bunch of Zs. That means I'm in a rested area. So if I log out here, I'll get rested XP bonus, making this an ideal place to log out. If you can find an inn nearby, log out there. However, if you log out in the wilderness, it'll be fine, you just won't get as much rested XP bonus. If you walk up to the innkeeper here and talk to him, you can see make this inn your home is an option. If you hit that and click accept, it'll bind your Hearthstone to this inn. So no matter where you are in the world, if you click this and cast it, it'll teleport you back to this inn, and you can use it every 30 minutes. Thanks for watching my guide, guys. I will be making more beginner guides, as this video didn't cover anywhere near as everything as I wanted it to, and I didn't want this video to go for 6 hours. So if you want to watch the part 2 and 3 and 4 to these guides, please subscribe and click like on the video and stay tuned. I'll put the videos in the description below once I've uploaded them. Also, let me know in the comments what you'd like to see in the guides. Let me know if I've missed anything, or if you had any questions about anything. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.